Okay, hi everyone. In today's webinar, we are going to talk about a bunch of ways to automate your social media. Of course, creating the content and doing all that is one thing. I'd love to say that that's 100% automatable, but it's not. If you guys ever need help with that, of course, you can ask my Broker Pro for some of our managed packages. But today is going to be about just like automations that you can do inside our system and even some tricks within Canva to really speed up the process. So I'm just going to get right into it. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to be looking at this screen so that I could still see you guys. And so don't mind me not looking at the camera anymore. Okay, so if you don't have an account with My Broker Pro, you can create one for free. We're still giving away the 365-day free trial. The only thing you end up paying for is data, which is like sending SMS, text messages, and also prompts for AI. But you can see all that. It's super cheap, I mean, for what you're doing. There's a data page on our website if you're really concerned, or if you're going to get crazy with your automations and send out millions of text messages, you can see what it would cost you. But for now, everything's nice and cheap, and you can get the account set up and everything for free. So once you have your account created, and then you do your onboarding session and have everything set up, you would go and navigate to the automation section. This section has a bunch of templates already created for you. And then today I'll show you how to create them and edit them so that it suits kind of your social media. There's a ton of other things you can do, but today we're just talking social media. So when you click on this create workflow button and you go select recipe, these are the ones that are already created for you, like pre-populated templates. Okay, so you're going to go in here, kind of cruise through these and see which ones you're happy with, and then gives you an example, kind of tells you what this automation is about. But there's a few in here that you can see: Instagram comment automation. So let's start from the beginning. This recipe, Instagram comment automation. Use this recipe to automate the DM replies to your comments on Instagram. So this is an excellent example of those people who are like, comment blog and I'll send you a direct message. Or, lately Scott Peckford's been doing comment podcasts, or you see people just saying like, comment a certain word and I will message you a product, a link, a PDF, or whatever it may be. So you're giving them what to say. This is going to capture that for them, okay? Recipe for Facebook comments plus workflow AI. This one actually starts to utilize AI to start and create conversations. So this is called conversational AI. And what it does is it picks up the tone of the response from whoever's commenting or messaging you, and it will reply for you. So of course, this takes a little bit of finesse, but I'll show you these as well. And that's really handy. I mean, none of us, well, maybe if you are, congrats, but I know I'll speak for myself. I'm not getting hundreds of messages or comments a day, but if you were, this is very helpful. Or it's also helpful for those one-offs where they comment and you don't reply until 1 or 2 days later when you see it, right? So of course, we know these social platforms really need us to comment kind of as soon as possible to show our engagement, keep the whoever commented engaged as well. Like they just sent you a message. That could be a lead, could be a referral partner. It's somebody you want to show that you're paying attention to because they obviously took the time to comment, right? So these are all tools that will help you with that. Even if you're not getting hundreds of messages, it'll help you monetize those that you are getting so that when you're busy being a mortgage broker, you can kind of rest assured that at least these people are getting messages back. So Facebook comment automation, very similar to the Instagram one, where you're like, comment a certain word and I will send you a result, whether that be PDF or a link or whatever it may be. We'll talk about where is the Facebook? There's Google My Business message, but we're not going to get into that today because we're talking social media. Facebook Messenger. This one's more if you're going to reply on your own, and I'll show you what these look like inside. But Facebook Messenger is more like somebody messaged you and the bot is going to reply in 30 minutes from now. If they're like, hey, Sarah's obviously busy. Can I like schedule an appointment, or can I get back to you, or what's your email so that our team can get back to you? It's going to prompt a response in X amount of time in case you don't take over the conversation manually. Because in most cases, I mean, it's nice to have a bot, but it's starting to be recognizable as well. So you don't want a bot to respond to everything. So you can create it where you get notified when you get a Facebook message, but if you don't respond, in this one says 30 minutes, I think that's a bit long, but let's say 10 minutes, then the bot will take over and say, hey, sorry, Sarah's busy. Let's, take this next step. Give me your phone number or your email and let's move forward. And I think that's it for these ones. The other ones we can turn them into something for social media, which I'll show you now. So if I go to, I'm just going to get out of here and go back in. We obviously have lots of social automations, but I'll go to the social media ones. And because these are templates, like these, I actually literally created them last night because I was like, oh, this is exciting. So because the template's there, it's not as hard to start and create or wrap your head around if this is new to you, but there are some little things that you can do to make it easier and make the flow better. So we'll start with a new Instagram message. This would work as well for Facebook. Okay, so I'll show you when you click into here. This would have been one of the templates, the Facebook or the Instagram message. And a lot of this would have already been, so this looks a little intimidating, but I'm going to walk you guys through this, okay? So the trigger is always like, what happened for me to want to do something, for the bot to take over or to send a message or whatever. That's the trigger. A trigger being somebody replied to your Instagram or to your Facebook. That's what triggers this automation. And if at any point this doesn't make sense, just stop me and ask questions. It's easier to go through it right now than at the end. So now it's saying, what is your trigger? And it gives you a little write-up, so you can feel free when you're getting used to it to read these and really understand what they are. But we also have a full database of like, what is a workflow? What is this? What is that? So I'll share that with you guys after. So basically this already comes pre-populated because it's a template, but it's saying the customer replied. So this is your name, customer replied. If you want to get fancy, you can say Instagram so that you know, because maybe you'll end up with multiple triggers. Maybe they reply on Facebook and you keep them in the same automation. But to keep it simple, I like to actually create multiple automations so that it's like just for Instagram, just for Facebook. But the automation specialists who are on our team, they're way more advanced than me. So they create like multiple, there'll be like 7 triggers, and then there'll be like one automation that works for all of them. So as you get used to the platform, obviously you can elaborate on your automations, but for now, this is what I prefer to keep things simple. So you could rename your trigger if you'd like to, and then you're saying here, this came pre-populated. The reply channel, and you can see there's different ones here, but in this case, because it was pre-populated, it would have already chosen reply channel for you. This would have been empty. Okay, so your Instagram and your Facebook during your account setup would have been connected with Bon. So if you're not, again, you can do that with him for free. So you can do your one-on-one or on your own. The Instagram DM, these are all the different things you can say reply channels, because you might have a website chat widget, you might have a phone call associated with the account. So these are all things you can automate, guys. So in this case, we're just talking about Instagram. So I chose Instagram DM. And then I said doesn't have the tag auto DM, and you guys will see that after. The reason I added this was because I didn't want this bot to restart a conversation with people I had already talked to through automation. I didn't want it to say every single time, like, what can I help you with? It's like, okay, Sarah, like this screams that it's automated, right? So, oh, I've got a couple people in the waiting room. 1 second here. So with that, I created this tag, and I'll show you guys why in the next one. Okay, so just forget about this for now, but I'll mention it again when we get to the next one. Every time you create an automation, it means that you have an opportunity. So the next step is to create an opportunity. You're like, hey, I want to make sure that I capture this new lead, right? And that I don't forget about them. And we all know that social media, sometimes we get messages, but how often do you actually go back to that realtor or that client, even months later, to say, hey, how's it going? Probably not, because it's buried somewhere in your Instagram messages, right? So in this case, you're not going to forget about it and you're going to create an opportunity. An opportunity is essentially, picture your CRM as that little bubble that goes through a pipeline to say, like, have they replied? Have they filled out an application? Well, in this case, we're just saying create an opportunity that I have a new message on Instagram. And you can create a simple pipeline, which I'll show you guys after, to capture and make sure you just keep track of different opportunities you have on Instagram, on Facebook, on Google My Business, different categories of your social media, so that even in months from now, if you wanted to add them to a drip campaign or your VIP club or whatever it may be, you have some data there that you can reference. So every automation should have an opportunity. This doesn't come in the template, okay? So keep this in mind, and you can reference this video at a later date, or obviously ask us when you need help. So in this case, I'm just basically saying create an opportunity and add them to my social media pipeline, Instagram direct messages. And I'll show you guys after what that looks like. Just admitting some people in here. This is where conversational AI kicks in, and this tool is so powerful, it's crazy. I think I was talking to Peter and some people on my team. I've started to implement it in our mortgage business as far as like setting appointments and different types of things, and it basically replaces the role of an admin assistant. Like it's pretty, well, it's very powerful. You do have to remember AI, as you guys all know, is a new tool, relatively new tool. So you do want to test what you're doing, as well as, you know, check in on how it's replying, make sure you're happy with how it looks, because it can go off on its own tangent, right? And there's people out there, not to scare you, but they will go and try to mess with your bot and whatnot. So just keep track of what it's doing, and always, you'll see at the bottom of these, oh, not this one. Oh yeah, internal notifications. Sorry guys, I missed this. So every automation I have with a bot, I put an internal notification, which means a notification to me or my team saying like, hey, you have a new message. And then here you can even say like, conversational AI has begun. Please check in to see how, you can call your bot something, see how Bob, your bot, is doing, right? Because you want to be notified. We're all so busy when we're at work that we know we need social media accounts, but like, I know for myself, I don't check my messages very often because I'm on my computer all day. So this internal notification actually goes to, for me, my admin assistant, and just says like, hey, keep an eye on what's going on and what the result was, okay? So sorry, I skipped over that. Internal notification, Sarah, you have a message. We've created an opportunity. It's going to go into a pipeline. I'll show you what that says. And now you're telling the robot, okay, you can kick in now. Okay, so conversational AI. You can click on all of these little buttons here and it will tell you what it does. And if you click on this advanced bot configurations, which I recommend that you get familiar with this, it will tell you this is all pre-populated, okay? So for me, I ended up changing the business name. It will pull the business name from your account, but you can change it to be like for Sarah or whatever. For our mortgage business, I changed all the names from Mortgage Tech to Luke, which is my husband's name. So that way it sounds more real. Instead of being like, hey, welcome to Mortgage Tech, it was like, hey, it's Luke, how's it going? All right, so it sounds better. Or I'm Luke's assistant is what it says on our website. So this all comes with it, but I suggest you read through it. And as you test your bot, because when you create one, you're always going to test before you launch it. You're going to check and see like how it responds and if you like something or you don't like something, because then you can be really clear in this additional instruction setting. You can be clear on the tone. You can ask it to always go back to the key points, which may be booking an appointment or whatever it may be. I'll show you what this one does. And we have, I think it's either next week or the week after, how to train your bot further. That will be a different type of section in your account than this, okay? So this will be the spot where it's really important. If you don't like the way it's talking, for example, somebody who uses the software was saying that their bot kept saying like nah, like N-A-H, which is not really professional in our industry, like, nah, you can't get a mortgage. So if you don't want your bot saying silly things like that, or just the tone of voice they're using, or certain words that just sound like a robot, you can go in here and say, use this, say this instead of this. And that way it's very clear. So as I started to train, which I'll show you guys in the next webinars, our website bot, I was very clear at the words it could and couldn't use, such as you can't give interest rate advice and you can't give mortgage advice, because otherwise it would try. So you have to
go ahead and waive your financing.
yeah, go ahead. You're like, oh no, my bot just lost his license. No, I'm just kidding. You lose your license. So you can be very clear here on keywords you don't want it to use, words you want it to say. Like, I use a lot of emojis when I type things, but my husband doesn't. So if it was my mortgage bot, I'd be like, use all the emojis you want. Whereas my husband would be mortified if it was messaging emojis back and forth. So feel free to kind of explore these additional instructions. Like I said, majority of it comes stock, but you'll notice if there's something you want it to do, you can. Okay, so there's one. When we get to the next branches, you'll see I started to add if it replied yes to this answer, or it said that it was, well, I'll just show you. So here, that once you get to additional instructions, you're going to ask a question. So for me, my Instagram is about social media, marketing, automation, that kind of stuff, right? But for you guys, your question would be like, are you looking to buy a home, or are you looking at commercial or residential real estate? So you're just going to initiate the first question. Okay, so you're going to say, picture this being somebody sending you a message for the very first time. You put out a great social media post and now they have a question, so they DM'd you to get a response. So you can say, hey, thanks for your message. Are you interested in, you know, buying a house or a condo? You can really pick what you want here, but you're going to want to give it options, because now we're going to create what we call branches for those responses. Okay, so again, this, like I said, it might look intimidating, but a lot of this just comes stock with the templates. Okay, so feel free to, when you put the stock template in, it'll be in draft mode and it won't start just firing off randomly at your clients or your messages. So while it's in draft mode, look at all this stuff, read through it, play with it, and then go from there. Okay, so then I said, are you interested in marketing, automation, or CRM services? And actually, what's funny is my sister-in-law messaged me on Instagram this morning, as she always does, and my bot answered, and she said all of the above, which could be a client answer, but I hadn't prepared my bot for that. So my bot didn't respond properly. So now I need to go back and I need to add this training essentially to my bot. Okay, so we'll basically here, we'll say you can keep everything pretty much the same. This comes stock at 1 hour. It's just giving time to respond, for the client to respond. This won't come stock, so you will choose which software it is. You're going to say Instagram in this case. Branch 1 and 2 come stock with the template. It's basically saying timeout means like the client just didn't respond again. You sent your automation and the client just went mute and didn't say anything. The no condition met means that in my sister-in-law's case, she said all of the above, and that didn't meet any of the things that I had prepared the bot for. So you can prepare for that by saying, okay, well, we didn't quite understand, or let's schedule in a call, or whatever that may be. So the no condition met means they didn't choose anything I had prepared the bot for. Okay, then you're going to create at the very bottom here, there's add condition. So in my case, I asked 3 things. Do you want marketing? Do you want automation? Or do you want a CRM? So if you were just doing like, would you prefer residential or commercial mortgages, you would only have 2 branches. And all you have to do is name them whatever that is. This part doesn't really matter. You're just creating the branch. The naming convention is up to you. It won't really change anything. So the no condition and the branch timeout are automatic and they have to remain there. And for me, I created 3 branches: the marketing, the automation, and the CRM. You can see I didn't do anything too crazy past that. This is where it starts to look confusing, but you can focus on one branch at a time is what I like to do. I like to, in my brain, have a conversation with myself. If the client responded back and said, marketing, I'd love some help with marketing, then this goes down this branch here that you can see, okay? So we've got quite a few branches, but marketing was the essential response. So now I'm telling my bot, okay, marketing was the response. I didn't change anything really in these sections. Again, this all comes stock. But what I did add as an additional instruction, because I noticed my bot didn't really have any manners or excitement, I added this. I just said, if they respond, they're interested in marketing services, say awesome before moving to the next question. Because my bot was just like straight business. It was like, great, here's your packages. Whereas I want to be like a little more interactive. So if they, in the case where when we get to training how to train your chatbot for your website in a couple weeks, I added a lot of additional conversational things like that. Like if they said, I already have an accepted offer, I'd be like, that's amazing, congrats. When it, and then you can move on with your next questions. But when you're testing your bot, you'll notice what it's missing, and then you can just simply go back and add additional instructions. So like I said, all of this comes stock with it. All I added was this additional little paragraph here, just to add a little bit of Sarah into my bot, right? So then I was going to ask a new question, which is now going to create new branches. So like I said, it does look intimidating, but it's doing the work for you. It's creating the branches for you, right? So now I'm going to say, I'm going to say awesome before moving to the next question. And then I'm going to say, do you prefer templates, or do you prefer managing your, or a self-managed package, or a fully managed package? I say here, something like that. Hands off to our managed packages. And then we do the same thing. We keep it at an hour, that's stock. We make sure that we pick Instagram. You're going to have the no conditions, the timeout, which comes stock with it. And then you're going to name your branches again. So in my case, I'm saying the client either chose managed or template packages. Okay, so beyond that, there's nothing to do there. And then we're just going to the managed templates. So here's our new branch, templates, manage. So you're just kind of giving options and working your way down the branch. Okay. Eventually it will look like, oh, wow, I created a lot. But if you're just doing it one at a time, it's not as intimidating as it seems. So now we're getting to the end. We're basically saying, okay, they chose templates. So now instead of it being a conversation, I'm actually going to tell the bot exactly what to say. So then the person says, templates sounds great. It sounds like our baseline package would be perfect for you. Check out our plans here. And the reason I did this and separated it into two is because when I tested it, the link for my packages ended up above my message. Sometimes when you do links in Instagram, it does that. So I separated it into two messages. So all I did was go add Instagram DM, and I'll show you guys where this lives. And then I put in a link. For me, I track everything through triggers, but we don't have to worry about that. You could simply put a link here to whatever it is that you're trying to do. You can also, before I go too far into this, let me show you where this is. When you hit this little plus button, everything is going to kind of come stock in this template. But if you're looking to add additional things like this DM, or in the case where we talked about giving yourself an internal notification to let yourself know, you can literally just type in internal notification. You can type DM, Instagram DM, conversational AI, or anything AI really will pop up. There's lots of AI in the system. So you would pick from that and go from there. So if you wanted to notify yourself again to be like, hey, your bot finished the job, you would send an internal notification by email notification or a text message to yourself. You can write what text message you want and whatnot. So I would encourage you, when you're first getting started, when you open up a template, just kind of cruise through these and see what they are. You can add tasks, you can create contacts. Creating a contact from social media is tough because you don't always have their name and their phone numbers and their email. So it doesn't really create like a real contact. It can create you a lead, but until you know their name, because it's not usually their Instagram handle, it's kind of hard to create like a first and a last name lead. But once you evolve that relationship, of course, it can be updated. You can send emails, send messages. You can notify your Slack channel. You can, if it gets to a certain point, not so much in the IG, but if you were talking to a client through automation, you can actually set it up where it'll start a phone call and bridge connect your phone call. Like there's so many automation features within here. Send a review request. Like pretty much anything. You can connect to any platform. It's very much like Zapier, pretty much identical. So a ton of tools in here, guys. Again, may seem overwhelming, but once you get used to it, there's always a few key ones you end up using. The rest of them end up just kind of being fluff or not relevant to your industry. But in this case, for social media, it's very easy to identify the ones that you need, because you can just write like IG or Facebook or Google My Business or whatever it may be, and it'll pop up. So that is kind of explains that. To test it, you can test any workflow here, and you would select a contact. So what I would do if I were you is add yourself, your wife, your partner, a friend as a test contact, and you can initiate it through here, and it will actually mimic getting a message in Instagram. But I actually like to take it kind of a step further, and I like to, use my husband as a tool. Yesterday I went upstairs, I'm like, I need your phone. He's like, what? And I messaged myself on Instagram to see what it would look like. So to show you guys what that looks like, I opened up my Instagram. So for this exact same message, it says, thanks for your message. Are you interested? This is probably really small for you guys, eh? There you go. So it said, hey, I'm not here to, this was my bot actually trying to help. So I ended up turning my bot off. And then I went to what I had just created and showed you guys. But it said exactly what I showed you guys. Hey, thanks for your message. Are you interested in marketing, automation, or CRM services? And then it said, awesome. As we said, I added a little bit of Sarah in there. Awesome. Would you prefer templates where you can do things yourself, or something that is more hands-off like our manage package? And then you can't see it here because it's a response. I said marketing, probably the manage packages, and then it sent over exactly what I wanted it to send over. So it said, that sounds great. Here's our most popular package. You can check it out here. But what's cool is you don't have to just send links. You can send PDFs. You can send an appointment booking link. You can pretty much send them anything. But the conversation AI will help you get to a point where it's more natural and has more flow. So before we get to the next type of direct message, does anybody have a question on that? Peter?
Well, it's not really related, but I mentioned to you maybe a week ago, so I've been building automations, kind of simple ones so far.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's say you're on social media and you put, my new blog is out, and you want people to subscribe to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I created an automation that says, as soon as they subscribe, they get an email with nice email template that says, you're in, you'll get the blog every month on the 20th or whatever. And then I'm not really sure what I did. I remember struggling trying to find one where I could pick an exact date to send out an email. Mm-hmm. So I accidentally, the first person that hit it, I sent them 21 emails or something instead of like on the 21st of each month, an email going out saying the new blog is out. So, yeah, that was, I wasn't sure where to pick in the drop down, and maybe that doesn't belong in this webinar.
Yeah,
but,
no, I could show you for sure. In that's more, as far as drip campaigns and stuff like that, which we will cover definitely in one of our blogs, I think towards the end of the sequence we had created. But there is a spot here. So when you are in settings, so it goes back. So I'll just go back here to the workflow. You're in your workflow, and we were in a new IG message. You would go to settings, just at the top here. And you can, from here, you can pick your time zone and specific times that you want this to go out. So if it was going to be once a week or anything like that, then you can go from there. If it was going to be once a month, then you would set up what's called a time delay, which is actually really smart to do in your IG messages or Facebook as well. Because like I said, usually once we message, we get a client or whatever, it's nice to just check in with them, even if it's a month later. So what you would do in this case, let's say you guys saw my message where I said, great, I want the marketing templates, and then it got us down to here where it sent the link. If I wanted to wait, you would go wait here, And then
Yep.
you would say, in your case, you would say a time delay of 1, and then you would, well, in your case, it'd be 30 days, right? So 30
Yeah.
days, okay? Or days, sorry, I picked the wrong one. And then you would advance. So in this case, we would say save. You can name it wait 30 days instead of wait, so that you're aware when you're visually looking at it, it looks better. And then you would do your next DM, and you in your case would be a newsletter or an email or whatever it may be. But in this case, you would do 30 days later, like, hey, how's it going? I just wanted to check in and see how you're liking the templates. Something like that, okay? And then now, 30 days later, this is when I sent them the link. So in your case, the first email or newsletter, they're going to wait 30 days and then they're going to message them again. So this could actually be really powerful in social media, because you put the initial effort of, 1, creating content. You've gone as far as them commenting and getting into your inbox. You don't want to just message them once. You want to go back. You want to nurture that relationship. If it's a realtor, maybe you have a custom one for realtors, like, oh, are you a realtor? And if they say yes, they'd go down a certain branch. And then you can kind of spam them with different mortgage tips, or, hey, let's book a coffee, or you can continue that relationship via wait triggers. So you're saying wait a day, wait, if you sent them something, wait a day and ask them how it was. Hey, how was it? If you sent them just a nice hello message, wait 30 days and see something, or ask a question that hopefully they'll reply to, right? So there's lots of cool features like that you can continue to add. Once you have something you're happy with, you just have to start adding what you want it to do. So you can just say, send a message, or send me a reminder and I'll pick up the phone and I'll give them a call. You can do all sorts of things from there. For sure.
There's so many cool things in there. It's true.
Yeah. So I'm going to say that because it is a good idea to message them again, right? So as you continue to build out, as I said, these are simply conversations you're having with the client. In this case, they said, yes, I want templates. And they went down this way. I want managed packages, automations, or CRM. So every time I built out a branch, I just had a conversation with myself on how this may go. And then I built it, and then it seemed to work well. So from there, let's go back to now when we get a little bit more specific, and this one actually looks a lot less intimidating, is when somebody comments a specific word and then you give them an action. So this is very common if you're like, in my case, comment webinar, and then all of a sudden you can get a link for the webinar link, or comment blog, or comment guide, or comment whatever it is you're trying to sell in your business. Okay, so in this case, this again is one of the templates. I just changed the name to our free forever. So you would say, the first trigger, all you have to do is choose which page it is. So this will come stock. This came stock without this word. I just added it to label it properly because I wanted to know which word. You're going to create multiple of these once you get the hang of it, right? So you're going to want to know this automation is for this specific word. So the pages, post type, and contains phrase all come stock, but you have to do the drop downs because it's going to say which page do you want to post to. So this is going to be blank at first, but because your Instagram and your Facebook are connected, you're going to hit the drop down and you're going to make sure that you choose the page that it's actually connected to. It contains the phrase free forever. Now we're starting to talk about what are they going to say. There's two options here. There's contain phrase and there is also exact match. I like to use contain phrase because if the person says that's awesome, free forever, or they kind of start to chat a little bit more in the comment, then the automation might not pick it up. So I like to do contains in the phrase free forever. You want to be aware of what words you're using. You don't want to use common words that somebody may just type and then you fire off a random automation at them. So make sure it's like, often you'll see like really big Instagram influencers use like DM, comment below DM01, because you would never actually say that, right? So it's very specific on what they want you to say, and they're going to send you a very specific automation. This is very similar to ManyChat, which a lot of people use as well, but it would be included in this feature too. So again, just be wary of what you use here, but for me, free forever, people don't normally write that in chat in comments, or use the for instead of FOR. So you can be selective here. Then the post type, you'll pick the drop down. It'll say custom or publish post. So publish post will only let you select like posts that have already been published. So in this case, this ends up as soon as you hit publish post, this will pop up and it'll ask you which post do you want to select. So from here, I chose, and I'll show you guys, I just chose a random post that I had on my Instagram, and then I did the free forever. Let's see if I can, well, I'll just cancel this and then hopefully it's still there. So the other option is custom, and then you would put the whole like HTTPS//URL of your page that you want it to go to. Maybe it's a different post that you wanted to kind of put this automation on, but in most cases I would say you would use the publish post. So I'll go back to that. This will track the first level of comments only, which means like if Peter says free forever and then my automation replies and says awesome, great, check your messages, and then Peter replies again, it's not going to fire it off twice. So it's only keeping track of the first level of comments. So this is already ticked on. You don't have to worry about that. Let me see. Okay, so when I go back here, you can see I picked which post it was. So I'm just going to open it up on Instagram. This was one of our posts with our free forever templates. So every week we send out free templates as part of our, campaign. So I basically picked this post to test last night. And what's cool is that way you can, once you pick one, you can visually click this button to see what that post is. Okay, so now we've done the work. This is the trigger. Which post are they commenting on to fire off this automation, which is called a trigger. That's the trigger that makes it all happen. And then this, again, this all comes stock with it, but I'll show you how it works. You're saying Instagram interactive messenger. This, if this wasn't here and you were like starting from scratch, you would hit plus and you would just write Instagram, if I had it right, and it's there. It's in beta, but it's working really well. So this again comes stock, but if you were looking for it, like I said, you can use that search function and find things pretty easily. So in here, I'm saying reply, what type of reply? I'm saying reply a comment via direct message, reply to DM or reply comment. So in this particular automation, we're wanting to reply to a specific comment. So that came stock, but there are two options there if you're wanting to play with it. This is where I made the mistake last night. You have the option to add what's called custom values, which we're familiar with as far as email campaigns, where it would say, hey, contact first name, hey Sarah, how's it going? But it didn't work with Instagram because we don't have their name. So I'm gonna actually just get rid of that. So again, as you're testing, you're gonna be like, oh, that didn't work. And then you're gonna move on. So, hey, thanks for reaching out and showing interest in our free forever package or templates. Check out these and let me know what you think. Okay, and then when you scroll down to the bottom, this is where it actually gets fun. It doesn't look like there's anything left at the bottom, and that's kind of got me last night. But when you keep going through, you can add an attachment. You can add a link or a button. You can add a PDF. You can add all sorts of things, and I'll show you what it looks like in Instagram. You can add new buttons, and then you can also have like a wait step for the next action. So I'm basically just saying, just wait 1 minute before you do anything else. But, and this came stock, I didn't change it, but that would basically say, like, if you wanted it to say, thanks again, we'll talk to you soon, it would happen a minute later. So you don't have to change this, but that's essentially what it's saying. So in my case, I said, I named my button free forever templates, and then I gave it the link to my templates for them to have. And you guys could use this as far as, let's see if I get rid of this, if it will open it up. Maybe I won't. Okay, this, when you go open website, there's like open PDF, there's different types of actions here to control your button. Okay, so we'll go to hit cancel here so don't do anything. But that's essentially going to give the client what I said was going to happen. Okay, so what we did here, and again, this comes stock. They said, hey, I want the free forever templates. You're like, great. And it gave them the templates that we were going to provide. But in the last time I was telling you guys, well, the default timeout meant that they never responded. But in this case, they're not responding. They responded in your comment, not in your direct message. So you're saying like, we're not going to wait for them to respond. We're just going to send them a message, even if they don't respond. So that's where it's just looping it back to the respond on a comment. Okay, so then it's saying, okay, perfect. In this section, we said, here's what we're going to send them via direct message. And this you can actually, which is way better than like ManyChat and some other programs out there, is you can give it multiple options to say, instead of just check your DMs, check your DMs, check your DMs. Let's say you have hundreds of comments, hopefully. You can give it a different variation of what you want it to say. And then the bot or the automation will choose just different ones every single time. So it doesn't look like Sarah's just saying, check DM, check DM, check DM. It'll be like, awesome, check your DMs for templates, done, check your messages. So you can add as many as you want for those if you'd like. This one isn't relevant on Instagram yet, but I'm sure it will be soon. And what's cool about the Facebook one where it's working well is you can like the comment that the client did as well as comment below them. So I leave this toggled on because I'm sure it will be active soon. But for now, that feature is just working on Facebook. So in Facebook, if somebody commented what you wanted and actually sent them, let's say the blog or the link or the article, it would like the comment, then comment below them to check their messages, and then send whatever it is that you're looking to send. So again, you can leave that toggled on for now. My mouse is, come on. Sorry, I'm having issues with my mouse here. Save action, did I change anything? Okay, so what this looks like, again, you can go into settings, you can choose time zones and specific times you want it to trigger, but in this case, it doesn't matter. If they're commenting, you want to respond right away, right? But enrollment history, what's nice is you can see who's enrolled to it, so you can see that it was just me testing at the time, and execution logs will see if you have any errors or anything like that within your workflow. So what does this look like in Instagram? So for example, somebody came, I came to my own post and I commented and I said, free forever, okay? So I ended up deleting it. But when I commented free forever, it said, awesome, check your DMs. And it sent originally, because I copied this workflow from my husband's mortgage account, it sent me a spreadsheet for realtors. So I ended up having to go back, which is the importance of testing, and change it to the link that I wanted it to. But I kept it because I wanted to show you guys the different things. So originally my husband says for his work, targeting realtors, so he was sending them a post-closing checklist that the realtors could use during their process. So I, of course, created something in Canva, and when they clicked on get updates, it would send them a spreadsheet for Canva. It's not opening on my desktop, but on my phone, it opens, and it's a Canva template to do like a post-closing checklist that the realtors can use. So again, it doesn't have to just be a link. It could be PDF, pretty much anything you want. Redirect them to your website and whatnot. So from there, you can see I said amazing, thank you. And then I was testing out the rest of the CRM. It was asking me marketing, automation, that kind of stuff. So that's when I actually jumped into my husband's social media and started messaging myself last night. So again, it's fun to get it all tested and make sure it works, and then go from there on what it looks like. So when you're on your phone, it doesn't seem to be working on my desktop. But if I pull it up on Instagram, I'll show you guys quickly what it looks like. I click on the download here. So if I click on the first one, it opened up the Canva template that my husband was sending to realtors. And then if I clicked on the second one, once I updated it, the button actually said free forever, and it opened up my email campaign to send them to that particular link. So it's, again, a very powerful feature. Not only is automation like a great way to save time, but it's like just getting back to your audience, staying organized, keeping on top of things is all just very important in what we're doing, right? Because you're being a mortgage broker for your full-time job, so making sure that you're responding, you're putting all this effort into your social media, you may as well put some backbone behind it to make sure you're responding and increasing engagement, which is what that comment DM and comment blog is doing. You're getting people engaged in the content you want. So for example, my husband, for that one, we got lots of responses because the realtors were like, yeah, I want a copy. So that's the way that the algorithm's like, great, this is great content, I'm going to push it to more people, right? So lastly, I didn't really test this one too much, but I wanted to show you guys the powerfulness of conversational AI taking over kind of completely. Okay, so in the very first one I showed you guys, we kind of told the bot what to do. We let it go down different branches based on response, but we still gave it quite a structure. This one actually will go off on its own. So it will make up its own responses based on, mimicking maybe whoever replied. And this is really integrating ChatGPT into your social media. This is where this could be powerful is, and again, this when we go back to training your website bot and different things in a different one webinar, this is where it's powerful to set appointments, in my opinion, in the mortgage industry. I personally think that AI is great, but it's not quite advanced enough to answer frequently asked questions perfectly to get, like, I don't want you guys to get in trouble, right? So we have to remember at the end of the day, we're licensed for a reason. We provide advice and we are great at answering questions and commonly asked questions, but we don't want the bot to like really go off on its own and start offering advice based what's online, because we know that could be scary and most of the time not true. So this again is just somebody commenting on a published post. I'm telling them to say the word automate. Okay, so in this case, I'm trying to target people who want to use the platform. You want to automate your social media. This is cool in the sense that you can see the same thing again. So if I click on view Facebook, it'll bring me to the exact page that we want to comment DM. So you can see I wrote automate, and then it said, get ready to take your social media game to the next level with My Broker Pro. I like never told it to say that. So of course, this is where it's going to interact and it's going to fully start responding for you. Again, something to use with caution, but definitely powerful if you want to respond quickly and be there for your engaging audience. Okay, so now I'm adding a tag, which is important. This is where I was telling you guys earlier when we had that first Instagram message. I had an automation there that said anything but send this message to anything but the tag that says auto DM. And the reason I added that auto DM tag, and you can create any tag you want, okay? You can see, obviously, we use tags a lot because it's a way to identify a person that's in your contact list. So a tag is an example of you guys saying realtor is a tag, financial planner is a tag, client is a tag, friend is a tag. Anybody in your database, you're like categorizing them, okay? So I categorized anybody who messaged me for the first time via Instagram or Facebook. I wanted to tag them with an auto DM. I just named that. You can name it whatever you want. But I wanted to say, if it has the auto DM, don't just start a new conversation. So that's why with any of these first ones that I created created this tag and added the tag as one of the first actions for it to do. But in that very first automation that I showed you guys, let's go back to it just for visual. I said, send this message to anybody but the tag with the auto DM. Because if they had the auto DM, we've already gone through this exact message. So instead of it just keep saying like, do you want marketing services? I mean, that'd be a great way to annoy your audience or maybe get a sale, but in my case, I thought if I've already initiated the automation once, I'm asking you not to do it again. Okay, so any of those ones, you'll notice that I have this auto DM. This does not come stock with your templates. Okay, so if you don't add a tag and tell it to look at that tag before it sends out an automation, it'll just continue to do that for you because that's what you're telling it to do. But if you want it to avoid a certain person or avoid a certain tag, a category, then you would add that to the first automation I showed you guys, if that makes sense. It shows it in here as well. I can add contains the frame automate, and then I can say has the tag auto DM. But in this case, this is the first conversation, so I'm adding the tag. Hopefully that makes sense. We're creating an opportunity, and this is where ChatGPT, you can choose which one you're using because this will come out of your ChatGPT tokens and stuff like that. And if you need help with that, I can obviously help, but it's automatically connected in the system. ChatGPT 3.5 or 4, and then you're giving it a custom action. And did I write all of this? This came stock, and then I ended up just changing a few things. So this is a comment on my Facebook post by a user with stock. And then I changed, it said, it was very bland. It basically just said that it was going to sell something for me. So I changed it to saying, I sell software called My Broker Pro to Canadian mortgage brokers who want to elevate it. So I gave it an idea. What are we doing? What are we selling? So in your guys' case, it would be like, I'm trying to educate homeowners on the advantages of a HELOC or something specific, or as broad as you want. But just remember that the bot will do its own thing. The broader you are, the more it will be creative. So, and then I give it some context around what the post is called. And again, there is templates around this. I just edited it to match what I was talking about. And then this is saying this comes stock. It basically just says comment on the body of that Facebook post, like reply to the comment. And then it should be no more than 20 words, tones, playful but professional. That came stock. And I left it there, and you can see like it is playful but professional. But it does sound a little bit like ChatGPT, in my opinion, when we talk about taking your social media game to the next level. So again, when we talked about training it in the last section, you could add avoid words like, whatever you notice that ChatGPT says all the time. So temperature is like how focused or like how random or strict do you want the bot to be? Do you want it to be like really strict on what you've given the prompt here, very similar as you would do in ChatGPT, or do you want it to be a little bit creative? I left it just as is, and that's the response I got. So as you play with this, you can see here, 0.8 will make the output more random, 0.2 will make it more focused and determined. So you can make it go off the walls, or you can be like, no, stay in line. So then it's saying, okay, I know what I'm going to do, and I'm going to start commenting. When the client responds to a comment, the chatbot will actually now start to analyze the sentiment. And that's where AI is really starting to shine, is that it has the ability to determine how the client responded and their like tone of voice. Was it a question? Was it negative? Was it positive? So it's really starting to get advanced in that section. So you're saying if it was positive, so you're saying, okay, you're going to analyze the sentiment. If it was positive or if it was negative. That's similar to the branches we created last time, but this just came stock with it. But that's, again, you're giving it decisions now. Do this or this. Okay, so then the positive, you're saying, okay, they responded in a great way. This is what you're going to reply. So now we're just telling it what to say again. But it will continue to chat until it gets to the end product. So this, again, I tested and it worked okay. And it sent me, what I wanted it to. It sent me the free trial API thing, which is what I wanted. I commented automate and it said, great, thing you want to automate, here's the link to get started. So that's exactly what I wanted. And it didn't go too crazy. But if ChatGPT and AI is fairly new to you, like in this sense, just make sure you test it. Make sure you're happy with it. If you notice that it has anything that you're not happy with what it's saying, go back to that training section and tell it exactly, like, don't say that. Don't give advice. Don't do this, right? So you can really get focused and honed in on what you want it to do and to produce. Otherwise, I suggest that more the two first automations that we talked about, which are a little bit more strict as it goes down different branches. Okay. The other two I did not launch or test, but I wanted to show you guys because it also is powerful. Facebook Messenger is the exact same as the Instagram one, so I'm not going to go there, but that was like if you got a brand new Facebook Instagram message, you could do the exact same thing we did with the Instagram one by replying. Oh, wait, yeah, this is the one where we talked about wait the 10 minutes. Sorry. Back up to what I said. This is the one where they said a message and you wanted to reply manually first. You don't want your bot to take over, but you don't want the client to go unmissed or not responded to for, 8 hours while you're at work or whatever it may be, or maybe you missed the message. So incoming message comes in, it assigns it to you, and it sends you an internal text message to say, hey, Sarah, you've received a message on your Facebook, or you can do this for Instagram as well. So you just pick the channel you want it to be, okay? Then by assigning it to yourself, you can guarantee that you're the one who's gonna get the message on your team, okay? So then you're saying, okay, Sarah, you've got a message. Please make sure you give them a call before the lead gets cold. This again comes stock. The pending tag, it's not super necessary, but it's more just saying like, we've initiated a conversation, but nobody's responded yet. Like we're waiting for Sarah to manually respond. And then in this case, you're going to add a task for Sarah to respond in your CRM, right? You're like, hey, Sarah, like, don't forget to do this. You've now sent yourself a text message and added a task. So hopefully you don't lose out on this lead. Then in this case, it comes stock with 30 minutes. I personally think that's too long. In our industry, they've probably gone somewhere else, especially if they're shopping for you on Facebook and Instagram, right? So I'd probably change this to 5 or 10 minutes. And then for me personally, at the very latest, and then it's going to say, okay, now what happened? If we didn't reply, like manually, Sarah never went to her Facebook and replied manually, it's going to send a message and just say, hey, Sarah's a bit caught up right now. Can we schedule you in, or is there a phone number we can give you a call at, because she's not responding at this moment. So at least they're not going like completely missed. And then you would get another notification saying like, hey, Sarah, like you not missed opportunity, but we're going to give them a call back instead. Here's their phone number, or here's, whatever the result was. So you have a pending Facebook message from Peter Fabry, and please get back to them ASAP before it gets cold. So it's a series of reminders essentially, so that you can take over. But in the previous one I showed you guys, you can have AI. If you really wanted AI to take over, instead of sending this one, you'd replace this with conversational AI, and it would do the same as the last one. So it'd be like, Sarah's not here, but let's get started. Let's do whatever. So it depends, again, how much you train the bot, how much you trust the outcome as well. And the frequently asked questions is great. This is a little more manual and labor intensive than what I'll show you guys when we train our bot. I'll give you a little sneak peek today just to reassure you that some of these look complicated, but they're easier to train in the bot section. So this is where you're saying, I'm getting an Instagram message from any of these channels. So your Google, your chat widget, your Facebook, or your Instagram. And then you're going to send them a condition. In this case, they're saying a very common question you get on social media in this template was, where are you located? In our world, that's not as common, but maybe what is your lowest interest rate? Or what is, just picture a variation of different keywords that may be asked. And you'd say, replied contains these words, or exact match, or is, you can choose how you want it to do, but this comes stock. So you can change this to like interest rates. And if it picks up the word interest rate, it will now carry it through one of these branches. So again, this is a template that you can change and modify to whatever frequently asked question you think it should respond to. And then you would give it the answer, okay? But a more easy way to do this, and now I'm going to move away. Those are the stock templates that come in this. So again, just to go over that again, you go create workflow and you select from a recipe. So hopefully that didn't feel too overwhelming, because a lot of them just come almost as I've shown you. But the frequently asked questions, I'm not going to go over too much today. But just to show you, you would go to your settings in your account and you would go to conversational AI and you would go to bot training. And here is way easier to train your bot. So this again is in settings, conversational AI, and you have two options in here. You can choose general questions, which is frequently asked questions, or you can choose to book an appointment. Personally, I like for mortgage brokers, what I've done on our mortgage broker page is use the appointment booking one because I don't want it giving mortgage advice, but that's up to you, of course. So what I've done here, and I'll show you guys when we get more into how to train your bot, is I changed this to appointment booking and I kind of let it run its course. And I chose which calendar I wanted it to be in here. And this says, don't book appointment, only send the booking link. I actually like when the bot just sets the appointment for me. But if you want them to send the booking link and give that client the extra step to like choose their own date and time. But I quite like it just says like what time works for you on Friday, and the client responds 8 a.m. Perfect. I've got you booked in. You'll receive a notification. It's actually pretty slick for that. But all I did was I left it as is, and you'll notice the prompt comes fully populated as well. And as I was training the bot, and I just went back here and trained it. So I'd be like, I then started asking a question, what's your best interest rate? Because I knew I didn't want it to answer with mortgage advice. And then depending on the response, so this one's not trained for mortgages because this is then you can do thumbs up or thumbs down. And then you can continue to train your bot. And then from that, see, it doesn't even make sense because I don't have any mortgage stuff in this bot, but in your account would be all mortgage related, whereas my Broker Pro is all marketing, right? So you would say, no, that's the wrong answer, or yes, that's the wrong answer. And you can start to train your bot. It's super easy, but we will go over that more extensively. I think as far as that goes, that's it for the automations for our software, but you can create this pipeline, super simple. You go pipelines. So in here, you're in opportunities, create new pipeline, and you can create essentially your little widget moving down a pipeline. So you can see here, that's my sister-in-law who messaged me this morning because I only created these last night. And then Luke, when I was using his phone last night to test out the automations. So you can see as soon as I got an Instagram message, they pre-populated now in my CRM. So if I wanted to put them into a drip campaign, make sure I message them in a month from now or anything like that, very similar to, I know Peter, you and I have talked about drip campaigns and then moving down, 15 weeks of messages. You can create the same thing with social media, which is very powerful because we know people check their social media. So in here, you can get some information about your client as much as possible when it comes to social media. But as they start to create and fill out a mortgage application and whatnot, you're just going to start to get way more information from them. And this contact card will just start to elaborate on all those details, right? So that's just a simple way to keep track of all the stuff we just created. So when we created a tag that said, auto DM or Instagram message or whatever, all I did was say, go to this pipeline. So these are all things when you're getting onboarding that Bon will go through with you. Like he'll go through all of these buttons with you to make sure that you kind of have an understanding. And then through trainings like this, we will kind of continue to elaborate on them. But other than that, I'm kind of going over time, but I did have a little Canva sneak peek for those if you guys. Yes, absolutely, Joy. We typically send out the recordings on Fridays by the time they're edited and ready to go, and then on our YouTube channel. So you guys are more than welcome to stay. I know I appreciate your guys' time, but we are over by 6 minutes. But for those who do stay, I am going to show you guys a really fast way to create social media content with ChatGPT and put it into Canva and create like 15, well, as many as you want, but in this case, 15 examples in like 15 seconds. 15 seconds might be an exaggeration, but maybe 5 minutes, okay? So for those who don't know ChatGPT, basically, let me open up a fresh page here. 1 second. I use ChatGPT every single day. But essentially, what I did here, as you guys could see, is I went into ChatGPT, just the chat section. This is just a copy of this link. So you guys can't see the rest of my ChatGPT secrets. But I gave it a prompt. The first thing you do when you talk to ChatGPT is you're giving it a prompt, okay? So you're telling it what to do. I said, create a markdown table, which is what you guys are seeing here, with 2 columns. Column number 1 being a common mortgage question that general consumers would ask. Keep it short, simple, and to the point, because I didn't want like a long question, okay? Column number 2 is going to be the answer. Your response will be professional, but simple and easy to understand words, and it'll be 30 words or less. So I'm being actually pretty specific here because I don't want, as you guys know, ChatGPT will give you a blog, right? It'll give you like, what is a mortgage? It'll give you 1,000 words if you don't really specify what you want it to do. So in this case, what I missed in my prompt was how many did I want? How many examples did I want? I didn't say anything. So lesson learned, but in this case, it worked out well. It gave me 2 examples. And when I saw the examples, you kind of have 2 choices. Do you like what it told you, or do you want something different? But I said, well, that's perfect. Provide me more with 15 more of those. But if you notice that it really missed the point of your question, that's where you go back and forth and say, no, do this, change the tone, shorten it up, make it longer, add emojis. You can really tell it what to do as you would like an assistant. So I said, perfect, 15 more, please. And then it spit out 15 mortgage questions. Okay, so you can see these are all actually pretty good, but you are the mortgage professional, the licensed individual. So ChatGPT gave you the information, and always picture it as an assistant who is unlicensed. You need to check this information. You need to verify it because a lot of the time it's pulling from old resources online. Okay, so I copied this. There's a little copy button here. And I copied this. And then for me, I use Google. So I opened up Google Sheets and I pasted it into my Google Sheets. So now you can see my 2 columns. Initially, it really came like this. So you couldn't quite see, but you just kind of fix your columns so you can see what's going on. Make sure you're happy with it. This is where I would probably make my edits and change, something if you weren't happy with how the response was or the question was formulated or whatnot. It typically comes with a header. So it would say like subject or question and response. I delete the header because in the next section, it won't recognize what that is. Okay, so question, answer. Okay, so if you use Google, or Excel or anything, the format we're going to export this is called a CSV file. And that is how Canva is going to read this file. You don't really need to know what CSV means or what it's doing. It's just the type of file that it needs to understand. So when you go to export this in Google, you can actually type CSV file and you can download it here. If you're in Excel, you would go to like File and then go Save Page as CSV file. And what it will do is, let's see if I can, yeah, here's the example. It will create a file like this. You can, and it's not like you can't edit it anymore. Okay, so the CSV file almost looks like a PDF, really. But that's the language that will happen in this next one. So now at this point, you've exported to CSV, okay? You go into Canva, and we're doing a Q&A. So what I did is I just went to Reels or Stories. I can't remember, but let's say Stories. And I said questions and answers or Q&A. And from there, it gave me all sorts of templates from Canva that were Q&A templates. I picked one that I liked, and I changed it kind of to the look that I wanted it to be, because this is going to now create 15 of them. And then you make your edits accordingly. So originally this was just the quote that came with this story, but I added my logo, I added at My Broker Pro, because if this creates 15 more of them, I don't want to have to do that 15 times. I want it to just look this way 15 times. So do your edits that you'd like in your colors and your fonts and whatnot in this very first version. Okay, from here, you're going to go to the sidebar and you're going to go to apps, because you probably haven't, if you haven't used this function before, it's called bulk create, but it won't show in your Canva. So you're going to go to apps, and then it's usually right here, more from Canva, bulk create, or you can search it by typing bulk create. But it should be at the bottom because it's one of the most used functions with Canva. So you'll click on bulk create. It will now add this as kind of almost like a favorite in your Canva because you've used it. So once you've used it once, it should show up on the sidebar going forward. But if you're ever like, hey, where's my bulk create button? You just go find it in the apps. It's free to use. So from here, you got 3 steps, 1, 2, 3. And it gives you a little tutorial on what to do here. So you're going to either enter your data manually, which is painful, not quick, but if you had to, that option's there, or you're going to upload data via CSV file. So from here, we're going to go to, where's my CSV file? Oh, there it is, untitled CSV file. If I was more organized, I would have titled it. So now it's identifying 2 columns, 2 fields that we need to tell it what to do with. So I want question to be throughout all my 15 posts, but the question needs to change. So I'm going to click on the question, and then I'm going to go connect data. Connect data to what? What do you? So now I have to pick the first column, which was my question, right? So I'm going to say I want to connect this little paragraph or these words to how much can I borrow, which was the first column in my CSV file. Then my answer, which is below, connect data, and I want to click what that's going to be. So in my case, it's the second column. But you guys can do this with as many data points as you want. You can do it with pretty much anything. It's very flexible. You can have like unlimited of these. Maybe not unlimited, but a lot. So as soon as you're happy with, you're like, okay, now I know that I'm going to change this one and I'm going to change this one. I quite like the look of it. Maybe I want this to be centered. Go from there. Maybe I want this to be bigger. You make your changes now before you do a fifth, before you create this next step. So from here, you're going to, why is it not working? Oh, I unconnected the data. Okay, connect data. How much can I borrow? Connect data. Borrowing limit. So now I've identified which columns they're going to pull from. Once I've identified that, you see the check marks here, and this continue button is allowing me to move forward to the third and to the last step. You'll continue. You can see it's like, do you want to do this to all those 15 columns? And I'm like, heck yes, I do. So then I go generate 14 designs, and then boom, all 14 of them are there. So that's one of the best Canva hacks ever. I caution against using this for like every single one of your social media things because it obviously looks the same throughout. But maybe you change the colors, maybe you change the designs. From here, you can go and look at different templates and stuff like that if you'd like to. But this does help you stay on brand as well. Like if you wanted to have stories come up with Q&As once a week, well, now you have 15 weeks worth of Q&As. So it's a powerful tool in that sense to save a lot of time, stay on brand, and yeah, get you on social media a lot faster. So from there, you can go obviously to our platform and schedule them, or you can schedule them directly within Canva too, or Metricool, whatever software you use. But yeah, go through them, make sure you're happy with the way they look and the way that they formatted. But for the most part, because you did the work in that first template, it really does speed things up like crazy. Any questions? Because that's it. That was my little sneak peek for you guys who stayed till the end. Peter's just smiling.
You know what I'm smiling about? You did a post a while ago that said, what's your one word that ChatGPT always uses that drives you crazy? And you said unlock. So I wondered if on your automation you said never use the word unlock.
Did you see that I said that?
No, I just wondered.
I've got an extensive list of things I don't like ChatGPT to say, and I'm currently, well, I'm going to stop my recording now, but I've got stop recording.